Hey guys, happy 4th of July everyone, first of all. And welcome to this live video. I wanted to try to just do this real quickly while I'm on my lunch. But, you know, I go to a certain message board, the MLP forum if you will. And there's one question that keeps getting risen up about the movie coming out in October. The one question that a lot of people have, and I even tried to answer this through a text, and I even tried to answer it through audio video, if you will. I even tried to answer it through audio video. But basically, some people, basically the question that everybody is asking is, how will you see the movie, and will you see the movie in theaters? Now, how you will see the movie has gotten very interesting answers. Some people have said that they will indeed go see it in the theaters. Some have said they'll even pirate the movie. In other words, torrent it in some way, like maybe screener, DVD screener, whatever you want to call it. They'll try to view it that way. Another way that some have said that they'll see the movie is when it comes to home video. Some have said they'll even wait till it comes onto digital. iTunes, Google Play, you name it. Some have said that they will even wait till Discovery Family, or in this case maybe Starz, airs the movie on television. Or at least the premium on-demand service lets you rent it or buy it through them. So we've gotten various answers to that question of how you would see it. The other one is, will you see it in theaters? And some have said that they will see it in theaters. Some have said they'll see it the weekend it premieres. Some have even said they'll wait at least a few days, maybe see it during the week when they can. And some have questioned, and some have answered that they're not going to. And when it comes to those people that have said they're not going to, it makes me and any other person wonder why. Well, basically the answers that they got, is, well, as crazy as it sounds, the answer that they got is simply this: they don't know how people will react. They don't know how people will react due to the fact that they, by themselves, maybe with family, maybe with friends, they don't know how people will react, from the ticket seller to the fellow moviegoers. You know, they don't know how they'll react if suddenly they see somebody going to the theater screens, going towards the screening rooms at the theater, at the cinema, that are showing the My Little Pony movie. They're unsure how to act. They're unsure how to react to it, because it seems like they've never been in this kind of a situation to where they want to go see something at the theaters, but they don't want to make it look awkward. Some have have tried to ease how these people feel by saying, look, I'm just, one fan even said, and they even typed this up to kind of give an example of what they're going to do. One person said that one person said is that when they go to the theater, they'll go to the ticket seller, get their ticket, or tell them what movie they want to see, and even if they get an awkward glance and maybe a question of, are you sure? They'll basically acknowledge that yes, they are, get the ticket, and walk straight into the theater, and maybe laughing all the way. Because no one would have thought someone of adult age would want to go see it. But it's very understandable why some people would be a little edgy, a little unsure. It's because primarily this is basically a kids movie, but it's also a kids movie for the young female demographic in a sense. Now, after seeing the trailer though, there are many other people like Matt Burnett, Animat, that's even invested in wanting to see it. Heck, one example I used at the fact that there shouldn't be no shame and you shouldn't be embarrassed about going to see this is when I used Brad Jones, the Cinema Snob, aka the Cinema Snob, example of what he did. You see, Cinema Snob, once in a while, every other week or every week, goes and does midnight screenings of new movies. And then he reviews the movies with his friends in his car. He reviews the movies with his friends in his car. But he made an exception one time. He and another friend went during the day, went during the day. Not in the afternoon, but mainly in the morning, because this was the only chance they had. They went and they saw one of the Barbie movies, one of the animated Barbie movies, that gets a limited theatrical run and then goes directly to video. Yeah, they went to go see, I think it was the Barbie movie with Barbie in space or something like that. Can't think of the name. But they went and saw that and did a review on it. And from what I understood in this review, the only awkward glance they got was from a little girl, who was wondering why they were going in to see this movie. But it sounded like when they went and saw it, that a majority of the movie staff there had no problem with them seeing the movie. They didn't. They had no problem with them seeing the movie. Apparently they had no problem with them going in and seeing it and then coming out. They had no problem with it. Now, another example, in a sense, could be something like the Gem movie that came out. Yeah, the Gem movie may not been the best movie made and best idea for a movie to be made, but it came out and primarily, if you think about it, was a girls' movie. But guess what? Guys saw it too. In fact, the end credits showcased a lot of male fans of Jem and the Holograms, the animated cartoon series. So it shows you that even something like the 80s Jem hit that wider base. It went beyond its targeted audience, and that was showcased in the end credits, I think, of Jem and the Holograms movie. And you want a good example of someone going to see it that is not the originally intended target audience or gender? Andre Meadows, Black Nerd Comedy. He saw it. The point is, even though he didn't like it, he went and saw it. Okay? saw it because he's a fan of Jem. He grew up on Jem, and he wanted to see how misguided this movie could be. That's what he wanted. The point is, you shouldn't be ashamed to go see something that people might perceive as originally and should be in original. That basically what I'm saying is you shouldn't be ashamed of going to go see something that many people perceive as originally being targeted towards a certain specific gender, age, and demographic. You shouldn't. Now, there are certain limits, I will say that. You know, certain movies like, you know, Bob's Show, he reviewed a movie and another person reviewed the same movie. And basically this was nothing more than a 90-minute, 80-minute preschool pilot for a preschool series. Why? Just to the fact it was presented the way it was. Yes, it had a bit of a bigger budget, but you could tell that it was basically a pilot for a preschool show. And that it definitely made sure that its demographic was a preschooler age. So yeah, you could say there are exceptions like that. But when it comes to things like MLP, Jem, you name it, Cars, what have you, you can decide whether or not you want to see it or you don't. But you shouldn't be ashamed or afraid to go and want to try and see a movie in theaters that many people would perceive or make you perceive as being a little awkward scene, because you're afraid a majority of the audience you'll be surrounded by will be young kids. And and look, no one can blame you for feeling that way, but you shouldn't let that worry you. There are many times when adults will go and see a movie. Many times when, you know, adults will go and see a movie, and pretty much the movie the adults have seen is originally intended to be a kids movie, because not just it's animated, because basically a majority of the audience is kids. But guess what? Adults go and see it too. A good example I used was Trolls. Yes, you had a majority of kids in there, but you had a fair amount of adults, and they didn't have kids. The thing is, you know, the thing is, you can worry about being embarrassed, being kind of feeling awkward, and that's fine, but you shouldn't let that cloud your judgment. You should just go out, see the movie, and be happy. Here's an example I gave in a text I did, in a replay at a message board I did. I gave my own personal experience about going to see a movie whose original target demographic was young girls. The movie was intended for young girls, even though it was based on a well-known Hanna-Barbera / Archie comic property. And that was Josie and the Pussycats back in the early 2000s. And I saw this movie in the theaters. In fact, it was the theater that was right next door to where I lived. I'll give you an example. Here's my job behind me. Here's the park. That's basically how far the movie theater was, in a sense. As a matter of fact, it was just a little bit closer. In fact, if you look at the middle of the street here, you look at the middle right there where it's divided, that's basically where the theater was. In a sense. Well, let's just say from the building here to that sidewalk right here, right there, that's how close the theater was to me, to where I lived. And yes, it was one of the budget theaters where a movie goes before it ends up going to home video. So I went there and I saw Josie and the Pussycats. And what's interesting is what was interesting, and I always remember this, is I went and saw the movie, and I was the only one, as far as I knew, that was in the theaters when they put the movie on. Yes, I got basically my own personal showing, even though I didn't know it, for Josie and the Pussycats. And again, this was a movie originally targeted at young girls, at a young female adolescent demographic, but yet I could tell you, even though I saw it alone, that when it was in the bigger theaters, basically when it was in the bigger theaters, that you probably had male and female demographics watching it. There's no doubt. You had a mixture of demographics, a mixture of genders. So, for me, I enjoyed watching it. One, because I was seeing it in a theater by myself, which was kind of cool. That rarely happens. And I thought it was a good show. I thought it was good for what it was. You know, I thought it was pretty good. You know, it wasn't no masterpiece or anything, and I could see why people feel indifferent about it, but I thought it was good for what it was. The problem I think a lot of people have, and this is just me, is, again, I think the problem that people are having with whether or not to see the movie in theaters, the MLP movie that is that awkwardness. My advice, because this is what I did with Josie and the Pussycats, go and see it during the week after. If you don't want to see it during opening weekend, that's fine. Go and see it during the week after. Here's how you do it. If you know there's a possibility that your local theater on Fridays always opens early instead of just waiting, then go then. Go when it opens early. Go at that point, because when you think about it, you might get some young kids, but not many, because they would be in school, and you would majorly probably get an audience of young adults or brony Pegasista fans. Pegasistas, basically fans of the show, that you probably wouldn't normally see anytime else, because maybe they feel the same way. My advice is to go to your local theater when it opens. Go to your local theater when it opens, and on a Friday, if it opens early on a Friday, and see it then, even if it's a week after. Because I guarantee you'll have a better chance. Because like I said, you shouldn't be ashamed of going and seeing it. You know, you shouldn't be. I think if you want to go see it, you should go and see it. It's like if someone said, hey, it's like if somebody came up to me, okay? It's like if somebody came up to me and said, you can't go see the upcoming Blue Skies, you shouldn't see the Blue Skies movie, or the upcoming Blue Skies movie, Ferdinand, because it's targeted for little kids. You're mainly going to get little kids and all that. Guess what? If I want to see Ferdinand, the animated movie Ferdinand by Blue Skies, I will. Because it's my choice. And I wouldn't be ashamed about it. The thing is, and you know, people can give me looks all they want. They give me, like I said, people can give me looks all they want. They can give me awkward looks, surprised looks, whatever. If I want to go see the Ferdinand movie when it comes out, I'm going to go see it. I'm going to. Because that's my choice. And that's the same with the MLP movie. If you want to go see it, that's your choice. That is your choice. You shouldn't be ashamed of people telling you You shouldn't be worried of what others will think, especially if those others are little kids, because they don't know any better. They don't know any better. And besides, for all the ticket seller knows, that sells you the ticket, you might be going to go see it to see if it's good enough to take your kid to. For all they know. For all they know, that's what you're doing. You're not doing anything else. You know, you're not doing anything else. So, to me, you shouldn't worry about what other people think. Don't worry about what they think. Don't worry how other adults or young kids will look at you when you go to the theaters. Don't worry about that. Just say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to go see a good movie. Potentially, I'm going to go see potentially what could be a good movie, and I'm going to enjoy myself. Because you know what? That's your decision. That's your decision that you're making. Okay? That's your decision. Let's say you want to go see one of the 50 Shades of Grey movies, or the last 50 Shades movie, whether you're a fan or not, but you just want to check it out to see what all the hype is about, and people might give you awkward looks. Guess what? That's your decision. You want to go see the Wonder Woman movie, even though people say it's mostly a movie targeted at women and empowering women. You want to go see it if you're a man? Go and see it. I said, go and see it. I don't think there should be a problem with that. I don't think there should be a problem whatsoever. So, my opinion, folks, my advice, if you want to go see the MLP movie when it comes out, go and see it. Don't worry what others will think. Don't worry what looks others will give you. Because it's your decision. You shouldn't be ashamed. You shouldn't worry. You shouldn't let what others think about you doing this cloud your judgment. So, that's all I'm going to say, folks. Just thought I'd give some advice, give my thoughts on it. And that's about it. I'm going to go in. I've got about, I think, 10 minutes or so to get something to eat. So, take care. God bless. I am out.